And so you better believe like all of our team is constantly watching us to see if we're going to do that.
Did you have to start walking around with 20s in your pocket?
No, because we never had to do that. It was.
Hi, I'm Kyle Weckerly, certified professional ghostwriter. I'm glad you're listening as I welcome industry experts to share stories. You'll hear of lessons learned the hard way, overcoming professional hurdles, turning experience into actionable knowledge, and how to connect with your target audience. This is the Career Challenges Podcast. Welcome to the Career Challenges Podcast, and I have with me today Scott Porter. Scott is an entrepreneur, executive advisor, brand experience strategist, speaker, and taco whisperer. So Scott, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great to be with you. Thanks, Kyle.
Awesome. So we'll get to taco whisperer here in a minute, but I want to start kind of at your brand strategy. How did you get into brand strategy, and what is your approach?
Well, it's kind of an unusual start to a beginning of not just an obsession, but something that I've just grown to see the incredible power of a positive and human brand experience that it can really have on your business, on your organization, your brand, your family, your personal brand as well. I have a pretty eclectic career background, and out of business school, I started working and took an opportunity with a nursing home business, and it was really quite an entrepreneurial opportunity where essentially the company took over distressed properties and turned them around. Now, I never imagined that I'd be working in the nursing home business.
That's quite a leap, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's just, I guess maybe there are some people that think about that early on in their career, but it was not something that was on my radar. And what really attracted me to the opportunity in the position was the chance that we had to the challenge of turning something around, of not just financially or reputation wise, but really changing people's view of and making the nursing home. No one really wants to be in a nursing home. I have my father has been in a nursing home for the last year and a half. And so now being on the other side of it, all of this is even more poignant to me. And I'm even more passionate about what happened when I first started working in the nursing home business. But what I loved about it was the opportunity to change people's, and the challenge to really, no one wants to be there, but let's do what we can to make it a positive experience as much as we can. And a pleasant experience as much as we can, and something that really helps uplift and change people's lives. And that was what really attracted me to the opportunity. And so took this unexpected opportunity, and the first nursing home that I ran was in the Pasadena area in Southern California. And it was a small nursing home, 58 bed facility, 200 direct competitors within a 10-mile radius. And we were bankrupt when we took it over. We were only about half capacity at the time, and I was faced with this. Gosh, we don't have any money to dedicate to marketing. How are we going to get the word out about our little facility? How are we going to change things and actually be successful and turn this around? And so that's when I started becoming this avid and voracious student of the power of brand and customer experience. I figured that if we could create an experience that was so positive and so special and so unique and different, that we could stand out among all of those other huge competitors that have deeper pockets, that are spending a lot more marketing dollars and taking doctors to Dodgers games and all sorts of other things. to try and win over their loyalty. And so that's when I started to study what other titans in this field had done. You know, everyone, these are names that we all know and love. These are like, it's Disney, it's Nordstrom, it's Zappos, it's Chick-fil-A, In-N-Out, Trader Joe's, even the Ritz-Carlton, looking at what these places had done to create an experience that was so distinguished and special, that what you in essence do is you mobilize an army of evangelists that go out there and they're actively telling people about how amazing your nursing home is. Mm-hmm. And I know it sounds like crazy, but so we started with our foundation. And the thing that was keeping me up at night was like, gosh, we have a great mission and value statements. Like most entrepreneurs and people that are running their own business, we spend time on the big picture, and we craft these beautiful mission statements and values, and we frame them and put them on the wall, and we train people on them when they first start with us. But I was kind of faced with this, like, gosh, what kind of guarantee do I have at 2 a.m. that a custodian or one of our team members isn't like hijacking all of the efforts that we do during the day? Mm-hmm. How do I keep everyone at every level of our organization 100% committed, 100% on board with delivering on our mission, like bringing our mission to life? And so I developed this system and framework that I've used in the businesses since that I've run, and it had dramatic results. And I saw how powerful it was to both. There's kind of two parts to it. One is create a thriving internal culture that you basically you reward, recognize, motivate, keep your team engaged in delivering on this extraordinary brand and customer experience. And then the other side is designing, and what does that brand experience look like for us at a nursing home? And it was everything from like shining our floors to offering every single person that we come in contact with in the nursing home that comes to visit, we offer them a bottle of cold water, to telling our team that whenever they pass someone in the hallway, we need to greet them and look them in the eye and say hello. That those types of small, friendly gestures. I mean, we trained our team at the Ritz-Carlton, everyone from like the CNAs to the janitors. It was just amazing to have them get all dressed up, and we go and have this awesome lunch, and we dissected the experience. Like, why does it smell the way it does? Did you notice when you asked to go to the bathroom, like they actually took you to the bathroom, or they didn't point? Or did you notice that they put a black napkin on your lap, but they put a white one on mine? Why? Because you're wearing darker clothes, like a darker skirt or darker pants, and white napkins leave white lint on dark pants, and they didn't want to do that. So it was like, okay, so how does that then translate to our nursing home? So we'd have this discussion of like really opening people's eyes and our team's eyes to, let's take this and make something that is special at Mission Care. And then, so we saw dramatic results from this. Like in just a year's time, we were not only out of the red, but we were making $4.5 million in revenue that year. Wow. We had a reputation in the community for high quality care. And like the feather in everyone's cap is if a doctor sends their mother or father to stay at your nursing home, and that is what happened. And we were like, be able to recruit top talent and all of these sorts of things. And it wasn't an overnight process, because it takes a lot of commitment, consistency on the level of all of our team, and especially the leadership team, because we need to lead by example. We would tell one of the biggest complaints that they have in a nursing home is unanswered call lights. The call light that you press, "Hey nurse, come help me. I need help with something." Yeah. And the director of nursing, Elizabeth, and my business partner, we would tell our team, because we told everyone, we're like, hey, it is everyone's obligation and responsibility to take care of our residents, no matter of whether or not, like, if I can't I can't put in an IV, I can't like legally do any of the clinical things, but I can go answer that call light and then take on the responsibility to get a nurse to take care of that need. And so much was our commitment here. We told our team, we said, look, if you ever pass us, or if you ever see us passing a call light and not answering it, we have to give you $20 out of our pocket on the spot. And so you better believe, like, all of our team is constantly watching us to see if we're going to do that.
Did you have to start walking around with 20s in your pocket?
No, because we never had to do that. It was a good check for us as leaders to be, no, we have to lead. It's holding our hands to the fire. We've got to lead by example. If we want our team to create this amazing experience, the type of experience that creates fierce loyalty and generates referrals and reputation and reduces like costs and employee attrition and all sorts of things like that. If we really wanted to do that, then we needed to lead by example, And so anyway, so that was really my first, I saw that how dramatic and how positive an impact that brand experience and creating a thriving internal culture has on your business. And so I took this same system and framework in another nursing home scenario, which was, 4 times as large and regulatory. It was going to be shut down because of regulatory noncompliance. And, and we were able to change things. And then I took it when we started the airline, the all-you-can-fly membership airline, Surf Air. We took the same principles and then applied them and tweaked them and modified them for luxury subscription airline. And now I'm running a gourmet churro business. And so in a totally different scenario, totally different industry, we're seeing the same effects of, you know what, let's focus on our team. Let's create an amazing culture. Let's define what it means to have a positive brand experience. Like for us in our churro business, I mean, we're all about creating like the best food experience in the world. We want to help people feel special. We want to help them feel like a VIP. And we do also, it's a different sort of environment, obviously, than a nursing home.
Oh yeah.
But when we're creating and selling and catering our fresh filled churros, we call it deep fried happiness. Like we're creating, and that, like, the I in Diablo means interaction, not transaction. So much of our connection with food or with business in general is purely transactional. And so we want to stand out and be different. We want to create an interaction. And so we hire people that want to interact and that are friendly and look people in the eye and want to, like, say, oh my gosh, your baby's so cute, or hey, those glasses are cool. Where'd you get those? Or, whatever it is, we want to connect with people, create their perfect churro filling moment, put salt on top if they want it. Or we have roasted crickets on our secret menu that we can put on top too. I mean, we have,
okay.
I know. And then we have like different levels of spicy cinnamon sugar. And so we like introduce, if people have something cool going on, we ring the cowbell for them. It's kind of our way of interacting and celebrating the human that's in front of us. And so that's what this is really all about. And I just believe that businesses and business leaders, even anyone that has brand stewardship, which I guess that's really all of us, because we all have a family brand, we all have a personal brand, we all have, with whatever volunteer work we're involved in, we're involved, we can influence that brand as well. We all have a responsibility, I believe, and really in a lot of ways an obligation to make the world a better place. And so if we can do it one micro interaction at a time, one churro at a time, one nursing home interaction at a time, or one podcast listen at a time, then then that makes it all worth it. I just feel like we know this, but we have the highest levels of loneliness, of anxiety, of depression, and unfortunately of suicide that our world has ever seen.
Mm.
And at the same time that's happening, we live in a hyper connected world, quote unquote connected.
Yeah.
And yet people are starving for real human connection. And
Mm-hmm.
so because as business leaders, because we have influence over thousands and even millions of interactions that our teams are doing, daily, weekly, yearly, we can, if we're building in strategies and systems to help support people to connect with people in meaningful ways, we can lift levels of happiness. We can help people. It would be crazy for you to watch, to be a fly on the wall and watch when we ring a cowbell at a San Diablo event. It's crazy. I know we talk about everyone always needing more cowbell, and that's why we got the cowbells. But it's like you ring a cowbell, and it literally in that instant lifts their spirits. They perk up. They're like, "Oh my gosh, you just rang a cowbell for me!" And the next one's like, "Well, wait, why'd they get the cowbell? I want a cowbell." Mm-hmm. And so you get this, it creates this, just for that moment, we want people to feel special. We want them to feel like we care about them and we're celebrating them as a human, So that's a really, really long answer to your question. But
no, it's a great answer. It's a great answer.
It's, I just believe that we have, I've seen it that's how I got started. And then I've seen the power of it to lift people and to make a difference and to make an impact. I mean, we're in business because we hopefully want to do both things. We need to have a livelihood and provide opportunities for our team and provide a great service or product and make money. But we also have an obligation and I believe a responsibility to make an impact and make the world a better place. So I've just seen that it's possible, and it's so much. There's so much fulfillment in it. There's so much fulfillment in creating something that is making people happier, more connected, and more valued.
Definitely. So it sounds to me like it's all about the microtransaction, making sure that whatever interaction you have with somebody, even if it's not specifically your customer, your client, that it is at least a positive one, no matter what happens, right?
Yeah. And I mean, it's interesting, we get, it happens to everyone. We get bad reviews. You get a bad review on Yelp or like something goes wrong or Facebook, Google, people make, you're not perfect as a business either. And so how do you then still create or do your best to resolve that and create a positive experience, even though not in every instance are things going to be perfect, So but what I've found is that if we, I remember this one time it was a very busy night. We were doing churros and the team was awesome. Our team of artisans were out helping customers take orders, and lines were long. And I remember one of our team members just, I overheard them say that. They weren't saying it loud for me to hear, but he said, "You know what? I'm going to throw in a couple extra churros for you because you've been waiting so long. I'm so sorry." And they were like, "Oh my gosh, that's so nice of you." So it's a very small example that, but it's what I've found is that if we empower our teams, and they know the type of experience that we're trying to create, then they take the initiative and they make it right. And a lot of times they may surprise you of how they figure out the solutions. But in that instance, it's not like there's nothing, world changing necessarily about that example, but it's just simple of, I'm going to take care of you. I'm so sorry for this scenario. And that team member was empowered to make that difference. And so you can translate that into whatever business you're in. But the principle is the empowerment of your team that knows what's expected of them, and that and I love that he didn't even turn over to ask me like, hey, can I give them some free churros? He just did it. And I'm like, celebrate that. That's awesome. Because I want all of the team to be empowered to take care of people.
Awesome. So where did your belief, I guess, for this kind of approach stem from? Can you look back and kind of point to a specific time in your life where it's like the light bulb came on and it's like, aha, let's take this approach, and you may not have even known it was really gonna work out, but you're like, I should try this and see what happens. I think there's really potential here for amazing things to happen.
That's a fascinating and potentially deep question for me.
Well, you see, you're a deep guy, because just in the short time we've been talking, I've gotten just so much information here, and I'm like, wow, he's really thought this through, and not just thinking about it. It's probably coming from your experience as well, but it's like, okay, so what caused this? And that's always what interests me too with stories. When you have your hero or your villain, it's like what got them to think and to act the way that they do. And sometimes it's just that small story, and that's where it starts and where it builds. So I'm wondering, can you point to that yourself? And I understand if you can't, because it sounds like there's just so many layers to this.
No, actually, I actually can, like, very, very specifically and directly, and many things have happened since that have just compounded that and brought it home to me, and underscored the importance of this throughout my life. And really, as I've done a lot of introspection kind of around this question of, like, what is this driving force in me? Like, why am I so compelled and driven to do this, and to be involved in what I am in now, and to have had the really, seemingly disparate experiences up until this point. And I can definitely hone in and zero in very specifically in my time as a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I mean, many people know it as the Mormon Church. I was a missionary in northeastern Mexico, below Texas, below McAllen, Texas, on the Gulf, in like an area of the Tampico area. And so I was there for 2 years. It is an experience that has not only changed the course of my life, it has influenced every single thing that I've done since then. Wow. I thought, like, when you kind of submit your application to be a missionary, you have no say in where you're going to get assigned in the world. It could be anywhere. And I thought for sure I was going to Russia. I totally thought that, like, they're the leaders of the church, the prophet and apostles, like, they make these assignments of where you're supposed to go. And for 2 years, and it's such a life altering, experience, because for so many reasons. But I thought for sure I was going to Russia, 100%. I was like, and then when I received my assignment in this call, and it was said that I was assigned to Mexico, Tampico. I'd never heard of Tampico before, and instantly I just knew. I just felt like that was exactly the place that I needed to be.
Wow.
And it was confirmed to me time and time again in, like, the littlest and large experiences too, like flashes of inspiration and people that I knew that I had met before, and experiences now. But this is to kind of get to that, though, to your question. Mexican culture, the Mexican people, their mentality has completely changed my heart and my mind. And this idea of, I mean, we hear about like mi casa es su casa, right?
Yeah.
And we kind of all know what that means. And it's like, it's a phrase that's repeated often and cute, and, you know, people embroider it and put it on whatever. I mean, it's just kind of like a thing, mi casa es su casa. It is a way of life. Now, and it's changed me. This idea of, I care so much about you, I am going to literally give you the shirt off of my back right now.
Wow.
And I don't even know you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's changed because that's so different than our stereotypical American culture of, you know, we're a lot more selfish. We're you know, stereotypically, it's something we're just looking out for number one, and nothing's getting in our way. And this idea of I care about you because you're human. This idea, like, there's such a warmth in the Mexican culture. When they shake hands, it's like a serious thing. Like, you shake hands and then you like pat each other on the back. The, you know, men and women will give each other besos or kisses on the cheek. Women will greet each other with kisses on the cheek. Even in some Latin cultures, like further south in Argentina, the men will kiss each other on the cheek. And it's just this warmth of like, come into my home. As soon as you come in, it's like, oh my gosh, can I feed you? Like, let me give you some water. What do you need? How can I help you? And so we were bringing this message about, of God and Jesus and his love, and the fact that, you know, that many things were had been restored that were lost for a time, and it was and we had a good fair share of rejection, because not everyone wants to hear the Mormon message, which is cool. And so that teaches you a lot too. But more than anything, what changed my heart and the way that I viewed the world is that there's such a need. You know, it's really interesting. I hadn't thought about this in a really long time, but this is something that was like one of those defining moments for me. I remember we did a service project one day, and we were taking a load of junk out to the dump. And we were unloading everything from the truck in at the dump, and just like shoveling it off. And then I looked over not too far from where we were doing that, and there was a family that was living in a tent made of trash.
Oh, wow.
And as we were digging, as we were unloading some of our things, they were starting to dig through our trash to find things that would be of any value to them. And that moment like changed me. And as you can imagine, I mean, and all sorts of thoughts of like, that's so unfair. These people are humans just like I am. Why was I born into relative affluence? That we weren't affluent by any in comparison, you know, middle class, normal family in America, you know, but with so many more opportunities to progress. And then why were they not? And why couldn't that switch? Why were those roles the way they were? And why does there even need to be so much suffering? And Mexico is a beautiful and rich and wonderful country where there's so much broad spectrum of people with all sorts of opportunities. The way that Mexico that I'm describing is not the way that all Mexico is, but it was just a moment in time that like just like sucker punched me in the heart of like, we have so much that we need to that we can do to help lift others. And here's another flip side of an experience that happened, I don't know, fast forward 15 years, when we started a nonprofit where we did international humanitarian service trips, and I was in Guatemala. And the very first trip, we're building the foundation of this, the first secondary school in this really isolated, beautiful, gorgeous, lush like rolling hills, tropical mountains with the Mayan Kekchi people.
Wow.
And it was the first secondary school that had been a dream of their communities. And our group, the capital that we were bringing in, was enabling that to come to fruition. And so humbling just by in the outset, right? So we get there and and the very first day, I'll still never forget it. We were in this, like, you got to imagine this dirt is like thick red, like really deep red dirt, and it's hard, and there's rocks, and it was amazing. Like, I think all of us still have those stains of that dirt in our clothes. And we're in this ditch, and so often we think, from the developed world, we think that we have so much to offer, right? Like, we're so smart. We have so many resources. We have so much to give. And we, tend to feel like we have this hyperinflated sense of benevolence and importance. And we're so generous, and we may not like think that big of ourselves, but we think, well, we're really special that we're coming down and helping these people that don't have, and that's why this moment was like a complete paradigm shift for me. I remember we were in this ditch, digging this ditch for this foundation of this secondary school. I was digging with Shalise, and just within like the first 4 hours of us being there, after having received this amazing, like, royal welcome, you would have thought that we were like, the king or queen of like wherever. And we roll in, big celebration that we're all there and we're going to help them for a week. And we're digging in this ditch and contemplating the richness of the experience. And Shalise turns to me, and this is what she says. She's like, you know what? I think we're the service project.
Wow.
And I'm like, yep, that's exactly right. And from that point forward, in all of my international humanitarian service and even in like whatever service I'm giving to people at home and just like hopefully like trying to live a decent life. I'm not perfect, very not perfect. You ask anyone that knows me well. But it changed my mindset. That there is so much more that I like we have different things that we can teach and learn from each other. And so I have been so richly blessed by a Mexican culture, the Latino culture that has they have the Mayan Kekchi have a greeting in Kekchi. It's Masalachol, which means, are you happy in your heart? Instead of, hey, what's up? Or how you doing? It's, are you happy in your heart? That's how we greet each other all the time. And that mentality, along with like some of my time in Nepal, this like namaste philosophy of like the divine in me recognizes the divine in you, that has changed me. And so all like these experiences compounded off of like my experience as a missionary where my heart has like been molded and really like taken and complete like reversal and flipped and turned and everything into we got to treat each other with more kindness. And we are all humans. We're all in this together. We all have different circumstances. I remember this one year, for whatever reason, I think I was in between jobs. I had the unusual opportunity to do the 3 of these different expeditions within a 6-month time period. And I was in a week in Nepal, and then a couple months later, a week in Guatemala, and then a couple months later, a week in Kenya. And when I was in Kenya on that last expedition, we were talking about like all the differences between all these different cultures and how amazing, and the food and the music and the clothing and the environment and language and all these differences. And then, but very quickly the conversation was, you know what? having experienced such dramatically different, everything from Hindu to, the Maasai to like, some Christianity and some Mayan, like ancient Mayan religion in all these different places, like completely different paradigms of how they view the world. And it was just like, you know what? We're just all the same.
Mm-hmm.
We are way more the same than we're different.
Mm-hmm.
And despite the fact that we think we're so different, we all laugh, we all love, we all want to belong. When we cut, we bleed. We all breathe. When we want to celebrate things that it's hard to explain how to we dance, we sing, we have music. Like when someone falls down and they don't get really seriously hurt, we laugh because it's funny.
Yes.
Like all of those things are that's what connects us as humans. And so all of these experiences that I've shared with you, that some of them I hadn't thought about in a while, have formed my mentality of this is bigger than like just like let's start a business to make some money and because we have a really cool idea and we think we'll be successful. Like there's more to it. We can make the world a better place. We can help people feel valued, feel important, feel special, and really feel loved. I mean, that's what, to me, it's all about. I've felt so much of that love from in ways that I mean, in a lot of ways, like that's why I'm using the taco experience as this kind of narrative. And in many ways, it's kind of my gift back to Mexico for how they've changed me and changed my mindset. And I feel like even the Mexican culture and what we get fed by the media about Mexico and different stereotypes and things. There's so many wonderful virtues to the Mexican culture and the Mexican people, and I want those should be admired and should be looked up to as something that's exemplary and something as a real business strategy that will produce amazing results.
Would you like to be a guest on the Career Challenges podcast? Go to careerchallengespodcast.com to find out how. While you're there, check out other episodes and download them through Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, Castbox, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more. The Career Challenges podcast is hosted by me, Kyle Weckerly. I'm a certified professional ghostwriter who works with business thought leaders and industry experts to write polished manuscripts, assess their publishing options, and create book marketing plans. I've worked with consultants, high-ticket salespeople, coaches, speakers, C-level executives, and business owners. My authors have worked for USAA, Vistage, Booz Allen Hamilton, Austin Technology Council, and the John Maxwell team. My authors want to write a book to serve as a platform for their marketing endeavors. They know that becoming an author will help them secure speaking gigs, market their expertise, promote a product or service, and more. Are you ready to turn your experience, knowledge, and stories into actionable advice and connect with your ideal client? Then visit WeckerlyWriter.com to schedule a consultation today and begin your publishing journey. That's WeckerlyWriter.com. WeckerlyWriter.com. And now, back to the Career Challenges podcast.
Let me, if it's okay, let me share just a really quick example of what I mean by that. So just a couple, 2 months ago, I was in Mexico City for the first National Taco Festival, which, are you joking me? Like,
First? It's only been the first?
I know. Well, yeah, it is surprising. Coca-Cola put it on. No one had been doing it ever. And they curated 50 of the best taco places in the country in one single location. I mean, it was like euphoria. I was living my best life for that whole weekend, and incredible. When we broke away one of the nights, and we went to one of my favorite street places with Roberto. He makes tlacoyos and quesadillas, and he's been. And while we were, I always go there and see him when I'm there. So I went there and was greeting him, and right as I was greeting him and introducing him to my friend, one of his neighbors comes down and she says, "Hey, Roberto, I have some visitors coming, and do you just have one egg? Can I buy one egg from you?" And like the grocery store ran out or something, I don't know. And she's like, I don't have time to go run to the nearest grocery store to get one. They're coming right away. And he's like, "Hey, Teresa, do we have an egg?" Teresa was at the grill, right? And Teresa grabbed her egg, and she just he handed it to his customer, and she reaches over to give him some pesos, and he's like, "Oh, no, please, like, just take the egg." and she's like, "Oh my gosh, like, Roberto, thank you so much, you saved me, like, I'll see you tomorrow, I'll be back and I'll tell everyone." And I mean, it's just like, that is such Roberto is running his business on that sidewalk, but that's why he's been on that sidewalk for 20 years. Because he cares about the relationship. He cares about the person. And then that produces like wild dividends, wild returns. You don't think she's going to talk about that at dinner with her friends that are coming over? Or every time the other 20 taco stands that are right next to Roberto, that, like, that's where she's going to go and see Roberto, because he cares about her. He takes care of her. And so it was just this beautifully unscripted moment of, we need to take care of each other. And the reality is, that's the economy that we're living in. We're living in an experience and relationship economy. And the businesses that don't get that are still stuck in the transactional consumer economy, where it's just like, I give you money, you give me product, and we're done. They're going away. I mean, you can see those businesses shutter their doors. Those are the ones that aren't around anymore, that haven't modified and realized that, this is a relationship. We need to create personalization and create something that's special and memorable. And so it was a really cool experience to see, like, play out, like, completely unscripted, but just like poignant in that he that's how he builds loyalty.
Wow. So Scott, thank you so much. There's so much here, but we do got to close it down for this episode. But if those who are still listening, please come back next week. We will have the second part of my conversation with Scott Porter.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you. Find out more about Scott Porter at searchfortheperfecttaco.com or his podcast Taco Incidents. Or you can find Scott on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Thank you for listening to the Career Challenges Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and like the Career Challenges Podcast on your favorite podcasting app. Visit careerchallengespodcast.com for more information. Schedule your free consultation with Kyle Weckerly by visiting weckerlywriter.com today. That's WECKERLYWRITER.com. Thank you.